Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of this SmackDown review. And first things first, let's address the elephant in the room. How much did this week's Raw suck? And not just suck, it totally blew massive chunks. Wow. Let's hope SmackDown this week isn't that bad. Before we get to SmackDown, let's run through the Elimination Chamber card really quick and do some predictions. First up, Punk versus Balor for the WWE title. I can't see any result here except a Punk retention. This is just not Finn's time. The Women's Chamber match, here I have a win for Rhea. We get her facing Jade at Mania, and please God, she takes the title off her and we get another Rhea run. The Men's Chamber match, I think this is another no-brainer. I see Cody with the win here, and we get a Cody-Drew match at Mania. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee versus Becky. I'm going for an AJ Lee win here, carrying the belt into Mania for a likely rematch, or maybe she will put over some younger, new talent. Either way, AJ for the win. A short but well-deserved title run for her. In terms of returns or what or who is in that box, well, I'm sticking by what I said last week. I think there's someone in the box the majority of us have never heard of. We won't get Paige, Bianca or Jericho, and I predict we will all be left utterly underwhelmed for the second PLE in a row. Prove me wrong, WWE. Let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired on the 27th of February from Louisville. And tonight's show starts hot with Jey Uso being put in the back of an ambulance surrounded by lots of shouting people, and we've got Fatu yelling at Nick, telling him he better find out who did it. Joe Test comes on and tells us that we're dealing with a major developing situation here and it's all very chaotic. Cody is asking Nick for answers, as is Trick, who says 1 man down, 3 to go or something. I think he meant 4, but... We then get Drew out, and he's got a new catchphrase, 4 letters, 1 word, Drew. I don't think that's going to catch on. He tells us that he knows we're all putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. He says that he's had nothing to do with what happened to Jey. As hilarious as it is, he says he knows how this goes. He's guilty till proven innocent. He says he's like an outlaw on his own show. He calls himself the Outlaw Champion. He says that he should be able to do what he wants, when he wants, so he does. We then get Nick out, who tells him he's told him again and again to stay away. He tells him to go to his office, and not just because he told him to, but because there are 20 guys out the back who want to tear him apart, and he is this close to letting them do it. Drew tells him he is allowed to scout the competition, but before he can get any further, we get Cody's music, and he tells Drew enough, and let's just fight right here, right now. Drew asks Louisville if they want to see a fight, and they go nuts, but Drew says no, how would that benefit me? The crowd boo, and Drew just says he's a rule follower, and he's just leaving. Cody shouts after him that he's a disengaging recreant, and I'm not even sure what that means in this context, but anyway, Cody tells him that his entire reign has been spent running like a little bitch, and he's not wrong, is he? Cody says tomorrow night after Chamber, but he's interrupted by Randy. He says what happened to Jey sucks and he feels bad, but right now his only concern is winning Chamber and whipping Drew's ass at Mania to become the 15-time champ. He says to Cody as far as they're concerned, but before he can get any further, he's interrupted by Trick, whose theme song at least is super over. Trick says he hates to interrupt, but he's the hottest thing in the business today. He says he feels he can add something to the menu, and then he's interrupted by Javon Evans, who says if we're talking crazy, let's talk crazy. He says he's here to win the Chamber. Then we get LA Knight out. He has robbed Trick's fluffy coat and tries to put it on, which is hilarious. Knight says, are you guys done talking? He says he hears a lot of empty promises, but there is less than 24 hours to go till Chamber. Tripp interrupts him with whoop that trick, and that seems to annoy Knight, obviously. And this ends up with Trick getting walloped by Knight, and the two of them carry on to brawl up the ramp. We then go back to the ring where Randy RKO's Evans, and we end up with a face-off between Cody and Randy, but no blows traded yet. Okay, so let's take a breath. That was a pretty chaotic start to the show. Let's break down this opening segment. Firstly, I really liked the start of the show. It was different. It felt naturally chaotic and out of control. So we've got Jey attacked by someone we don't know who. Everyone's assuming Drew, but that seems a bit too easy for me. So we assume, and I think Jey is out of Chamber, so who is going to replace him? From that good start to the show, though, things get pretty much back on track. Predictably, as we got Drew out cutting the same promo, woe is me, I tell the truth, everyone blames me, blah blah blah. Cody out following him, but to be fair to Cody, he does have, for me, line of the night, running away from his whole title run like a little bitch, which I loved. We then follow on with all the guys from Chamber from Saturday night, following each other, coming out, interrupting each other, which is all very paint by numbers and standard WWE fare. The key takeaway, obviously, is who beat down Jey, and will he be in Chamber? If not, who will be? We then go out to Kathy Kelly. She is trying to get more info. She's got Tiffy with her and asks if seeing what just happened changes her mind about entering Chamber. Tiffy says what just happened to Jey sucks, but she says everyone in the locker room knows better than to come for her right now. She says she is focused on getting her WWE Championship back, and we then get Asuka. She says Tiffy time is over, and tomorrow night no one is ready for Asuka. Tiffy says she feels like she is ready for Asuka. Tiffy challenges her to a match to prove Tiffy time is over tonight. We now go to comms. We've got Joe, Tess and Wade telling us that there's a lot of panic about the condition of Jey and what will happen. Coming up tonight, we've got Rhea and Io. We see them arrive to defend their titles against Bocce, Nia and Lash, plus over Femi versus Miz, who I predict will get full-on murdered by Femi. First out to the ring tonight, though, we've got Solo. He is alone, although still with his lantern. And this is the match that was arranged last week, which will allegedly be one-on-one between Solo and Howdy. Well, let's see if Solo does have the kahunas to face Howdy without his MFTs. We get a recap of last week's challenge for anyone who had the pleasure of missing last week's SmackDown. That entrance from Howdy, though, guys, never fails to give me the feels. He is alone, as is Solo. This one kicks off with Solo pointing to the lantern. Now, if I was Howdy, I would just send Nikki Cross out to sneak out from underneath the ring where she apparently lives and grab the lamp. Anyway, slow start to this one as we spend a lot of time tying up in the ring and pacing around looking at the crowd. Solo with the early upper hand, chucking Howdy from the ring, but Howdy battling back and trying to take out Solo's magic thumb. Solo, though, goes to hit Sister Abigail on Howdy, who reverses into the mandible claw. Solo hits the spike but hurts himself in the process. Solo goes for a running hip attack number 3, but Howdy counters into Sister Abigail, getting the win and getting his lantern back. And colour me surprised, there was no interferences from the match itself, but just as Howdy gets his hands on his lamp, he's attacked from behind by the MFTs, who keep hold of the lamp, and unbelievably, it looks like we continue with this feud. The match itself was okay. I'm pleased to see Howdy get the win, and briefly delighted he got his lamp back, but oh, WWE, it's nicked back. I'm pleased, that being said, that the Wyatt Six are getting a good outing and some TV time, but please let Nikki Cross wrestle. There's been a lot of speculation swirling around that once Bliss and Flair split up, which is probably inevitably happening soonish, that it will be Bliss, who turns on Flair. and possibly joins the Wyatt Six, reuniting with Nikki and giving the Wyatt Six a women's tag team partnership to challenge. That would be super cool. Please let that happen. Back to Nick now, who's with Drew, telling him to get it through his thickhead that tomorrow night is Chamber. And after that, his opponent is set. He tells him to stay home and out of trouble. Drew says he isn't trying to make Nick's life harder. They are both guys from the UK, and look how well they've done, a GM and a champion. Drew walks away and passes the Vision, well, the two of them that are left injury-free anyway. Let's have a minute about that. What an actual just disaster that has been. You wonder how long the whole Vision thing had been in the works, planning for WWE. First of all, they lose Seth, then Braun Breaker, and now Bronson Reed. It's not looking good for the Vision at all. So we have a two-man Vision now with Heyman. Nick asks what they're doing here. Heyman says he can start by giving them a better welcome. Heyman says he wants to help him out of his predicament. He wants Logan Paul to replace Jey Uso in the Chamber. Nick says how convenient it is that Jey's attacked, and moments later the Vision appear. Heyman says he's trying to help. Nick says it's an interesting proposition, let him make some calls. Now backstage, Kathy has Rhea and Io. She asks Rhea if her focus is split with the defence of their titles tonight and Chamber tomorrow. Rhea says she is focused on retaining the tag titles tonight and then winning Chamber tomorrow. Io agrees, saying Rhea is going to be the new women's champion at Mania. We then get Jade. She says that no one's going to have Rhea's back at Chamber. And that's pretty much it. Ooh, scintillating promo from Jade as always. Yawn. We then go back to Nick, who is, in fact, on the phone as promised, making calls. Fatu approaches and tells Nick all fingers are pointing at Drew. He says he's cost Jey his spot at Chamber, so that confirms it. Jey is out of Chamber. He says he's got a problem with Drew. Fatu says the solution is for Nick to put Fatu in the Chamber. Now, I like that. Nick says he will consider it. So my guess is here that we're going to get a Logan Paul versus Fatu match for the last spot in the Chamber, and that's fine by me. I will be praying for a Fatu win, and then I will change my pick for winner, but let's see how this plays out. Next out to the ring, we've got Tiffy versus Asuka, and we have Chelsea Green out on comms, which definitely adds a little something to this match. On her way to the ring, though, Asuka cuts a promo telling us how smart she is, and she's going to rest before Chamber. She tells Tiffy instead you can face Kairi Sane, which, to be fair, does seem a pretty sensible swerve from Asuka. So we've now got Tiffy versus Kairi. And this kicks off with Tiffy showing her amazing athleticism right away. Kairi mounts a fight back, and Chelsea on comms is an absolute thing of genius. What a stroke. What a stroke. We get some shenanigans ringside involving Chelsea taking a bump as Tiffy hits the prettiest moonsault. And takes the victory here. Predictably and thankfully, Tiffy takes the win, headed into Chamber in what was another decent match. We have Nick backstage. He's with Heyman and the Vision. Nick tells them that Logan Paul will get his opportunity to go to Chamber if he is victorious over Fatu tonight. Called it. Paul accepts, so that should be great. And what do you guys think? Who is for Chamber, Paul or Fatu? I'm, as I said, absolutely praying for Fatu. Next out, we go on to the Miz versus Obafemi matchup, and I use the word matchup loosely in this context. As I said before, I'm fully expecting Miz to lose here, and very painfully so. As the bell rings, though, Miz rolls out and grabs the mic. He tells Oba they don't have to fight. He says no one wants this match. And he says, as the man filling the Cena-sized hole in the locker room, he considers himself a leader and wants to be a mentor, blah, blah, blah. Same shtick we heard last week. He says 20 years ago he was in developmental. And like Oba, he was all bright-eyed and naive. He said, though, he never made the mistake of going after the locker room leader like Triple H or Undertaker. And that he wants to guide Femi and take him under his wing. Miz carries on selling his services to Obafemi, saying, let me help you inside and outside the ring. He says that he doesn't need The Miz, but he asks Louisville what they think. Should he join forces with The Miz, and should they become the Awesome Rulers? The crowd are not keen on that at all. So Miz says he's going to be the bigger man and walk away from the situation, but obviously that doesn't happen. The match starts properly and overfloors Miz right away. Femi hits Fall from Grace after about 2 minutes, and this one is over. Again, predictable, but that said, it was fun. Miz doing a great job at getting over the newcomers as they come up to the roster. And you have to admit, Femi is impressive as hell, and he is incredibly over. Backstage, we go to Mello. He asks Ilya Dragunov why he isn't in his gear. Ilya says he hasn't been successful at the moment and he doesn't think he deserves a title shot right now. He says he will have it in his future. Tells Mello to go out and be fantastic. Mello tells him if he doesn't take his shot, someone else will. And we get Mello making his way out to the ring. I don't know why we're not pulling the trigger on another Ilya Mello match. Are we saving it possibly for Mania, are we? It could be a Mania match. I don't know why we would, but I don't know, maybe Ilya's injured at the moment. Everyone else seems to be. So perhaps there's that method behind the madness. Anyway, Mello makes his way out to the ring, and tonight he's facing Matt Cardona in the Open Challenge, which continues, which is super positive. This one starts, and we've got Matt Cardona making a strong start and looking good. I've been impressed with him very much since he came back. We do get a Mello retention though, as he hits first 48, keeps hold of his title. And I say again, I am enjoying the Open Challenge. This has been a great thing to have carried on since Cena won the title. And I really like the Mello face character much better than his heel one. I have nothing but positive feelings for this right now. And for me, the US Open Challenge is the one and only saviour of SmackDown right now. Backstage now, and back to the bloody box, which I am officially naming the box of imminent disappointment. We've got Los Garzas standing by with the rest of the tag teams. So guys, that's the second week in a row that we've had a segment involving the tag division and this box. So do we think that's a clue to whoever is in the box? Who is the disappointing person going to be? Could it be a them? Could it be a tag team? Maybe the Iconics? No. I am not letting myself get carried away or excited. This is going to be a disappointment. I know it. Next out, we've got Candice LeRae, and she's facing Jordynne Grace. Out with Candice is Johnny, who is still pushing the sad angle. Do we even know why he's sad? I might have missed it during my internet blackout. I have literally no idea where this angle's come from. Perhaps he misses Tommaso Ciampa, who I saw on AEW this week. He doesn't look sad. Anyway, this one kicks off and the crowd are pretty quiet, but the cheers that are there are for Jordynne Grace, and it's a pretty nice match so far with some good moves. Johnny is laid out on the announce desk like roadkill. Jordan with all the momentum, and Candice gets distracted as Johnny sits up and walks away, allowing Grace to hit a pretty amazing looking pump handle German suplex, giving her the win. Com's making a big deal out of Candice getting distracted and handing the win to Jordan. Now, I'm just going to set off a little alarm here. This is a feminist alarm, so for any of you people who don't want to listen to this, maybe fast forward like 30 seconds. But WWE used to do this all the time. Have a women's match, and the story still somehow ends up being about the guy. For example, the Mania match between Sasha Banks, Becky, and Charlotte Flair. Sasha escorted to the ring by Snoop Dogg. Flair obviously had to be escorted by Rick, and Becky was the only one deemed able to cope without a chaperone. Now, in that match, obviously Snoop took no bumps, but we got Becky delivering a bump to Ric Flair, which became the focus. Now, to be fair, give them their props. They have been much better in recent years, and let's just hope this is an occasional storyline and not a sea change. We do not want to see that. Okay, back to normal. Backstage, and Kathy this time has got Raquel with her. She asks What would it mean to her if both her and Liv win titles at Mania? Which is a pretty real possibility. She says that would obviously mean that the Judgment Day runs WWE, but for now she needs to focus on what she needs to do. They are interrupted by Jade again, who tells her she needs to focus on herself. She says Liv isn't worried about her, and she set her up as if she wins at Chamber, she will embarrass her at Mania. We then get Michin, who says she's also coming for her title. Jade says if you are going to, do something about it. Now, I still don't get this Michin thing, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they have a match and maybe it's awesome. Maybe Michin isn't the under mid-card. Maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe she wins the title, saves SmackDown, and gets a parade. Maybe. We get Fatu warming up backstage. He's approached by Cody, who tells him he hopes to see him in Chamber. We then get Sammy, who offers Cody a handshake before telling Fatu, how's Jey doing? Fatu says not so good. Sammy says he wonders if Fatu was the one who took out Jey. I mean, Sammy might be stupid, as he had the opportunity. Sammy says he gets it. He wants to get his hands on Drew. Fatu tells him to be careful what he says next. He says you aren't the only one who wants to get your hands on Drew. Fatu says he was the one who got screwed. Fatu got claymored, Cody got claymored, Sammy didn't get claymored, and it looked like Drew was trying to help Sammy win. Fatu warns Sammy that he's watching him. Sammy then backtracks like a backtracking thing, apologises and leaves. He tells Fatu he deserves a second chance. Now this has got the potential of being interesting. It feels like we're on the verge of seeing a big Sammy turn. And could he be in cahoots with Drew? That would be very interesting. Or is Drew just being completely heely and quote-unquote helping Sammy, but actually because he feels like he could beat Sammy a lot more easier than some of the other guys involved? I don't know, but this certainly seems to be a very interesting angle. Next out, we have the women's tag match, Nia and Lash versus Rhea and Io. I just hope everyone gets out of this without getting hurt by Nia, especially Rhea, who has got Chamber coming up tomorrow night. Start off with the champions utilising their moves and athleticism, plus soon outpowered by Nia and Lash. Pace of the match is slowed right down by Nia, and Rhea is currently taking quite the beating. We get a tag and Io in, owning Lash Legend, and now cooking on gas, she turns things around, taking Nia out on the outside. Nia hits the Annihilator, and Io has to jump in and break the count. And oh no. Rhea manages to hit the Riptide on Nia, but Lash is legal and hits Lash extension on Rhea, getting the win, and we have new champs, and I hate it. Tell me if any other wrestler was as pure shite as Nia, they would be out the door, but Nepo Baby Nia somehow gets chance after chance and now has another title. I hate it. All I can think is that she must know where all the bodies are buried in WWE. That's all I can say. We go backstage to Flair and Bliss, and Charlotte, I feel your pain. She can't believe there are new tag champs either. Flair keeps saying she's fine, like when Rachel and Joey started dating in Friends and Ross was fine. He was fine. I'm fine. Let's have margaritas. Julia and Kiana come along and continue to take the mick out of Flair and Bliss, and Jade pops up again and tells Bliss and Kiana good luck for Chamber. Fine, to coin a phrase. I think we seem to be setting up for the Flair Bliss split. Maybe they split and face each other at Mania. I don't see Kiana doing much in Chamber, but you never know at the moment. It's just impossible to tell. We get Solo approaching Nick. He says, what the hell was that out there? He says, you've got to do something about the Wyatt Six. Nick says what he saw was the MFTs jumping the Wyatt Six. Yes, Nick, that is what we all saw. He says the tag titles haven't been defended enough, and next week we're going to have a match to determine the number one contender. So that's interesting. Who do we think it will be? I don't think we're going to see Wyatt Six as the number one contenders. So who else have we got? I'm going to say Las Garzas. A quick promo between Black and Randy. Randy tells Black after Chamber he will find him, and Black says, "Of course you will. We planned it that way." Yeah, okay. All right, Darren Brown. Anyway, now on to the main event, Logan Paul versus Fatu, and this should be a great match. Timestamp tells me, though, that we have only 13 minutes left on the episode, so it's not going to be a long one. But we do have Fatu out fastest, beating down on Logan Paul, and the crowd are more than 100% behind Fatu, who is so super over. We get a super mega close call at 2.99999 for Paul over Fatu, but the match continues. And it looks like Paul is about to finish this one off as the hooded man appears at ringside, taking out Theory, and Logan Paul attacks him, manages to pull off his mask. Who the hell is this? Literally no one knows. I think this is a trick. This isn't going to be the same guy. This is going to be another angle of, oh, you thought it was this guy, but then here's the actual hooded guy appears, blah, blah, blah. He's led away as Fatu hits the pop-up Samoan and goes to hit the moonsault, but is smacked in the face by Bloody Drew in his title, handing the win to Logan Paul. Drew refusing to have the balls at all to face Fatu. He clearly doesn't want him in the match. And that would have been a pretty exciting matchup to see at Chamber, to have Fatu in it and win it and go to Mania to face Drew. But no, we get Logan Paul, and Drew continues to be a turd. Yuck. So wait, WWE had Jey qualify for Chamber, assuming they wanted him in it, or did they never plan to have him in it, and was this planned all along? So now we have Logan win it. Anyway, I'm sticking with my pick, Cody to win Chamber. So all in all, for me, the word of the night here is predictable. Even faced with the opportunity of mixing things up and having a really cool storyline, Fatu in Chamber going on to terrify the bejesus out of Drew at Mania. No, we're giving Logan Paul. So let's see how Chamber shapes up. And I am sorry, guys. I am moaning mini week 2 at this point. I am predicting a predictable, disappointing Elimination Chamber. There's going to be no one exciting in that box. There's no exciting returns coming. This is just blah. Let's just hope that the matches are good. And we get a little mini reset on the way to Mania, because Jesus, do we need it? With Raw this week, awful. A U for ungraded for me. SmackDown, slightly better, but not by much. I'd give it a D-. Let's hope things pick up after Chamber anyway. That just about does it for this week's show. Thanks for having me in your ears once again, and remember, until next time, to be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.